Film/Crew review The Joker. Let's get into it. Hey team, Angus, Strachan here, and welcome to the Film Slice podcast. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Kane Diggly Wiggly Kane Dogs.
Thank you.
Hey. And the man formerly known as Brodilly-Doo Broadman Richards. This week, he is known as Arthur
C. Clarke.
Arthur C. Clarke. Thank you for coming in, Arthur C. Clarke. This week, we are reviewing The Joker. No, correction, Joker.
Just Joker.
Just Joker. Drop the. That's a little reference from the Social Network. Thank you. Kane Dogs, hit us up with that IMDb summary.
Did you just thank yourself?
Jeez. Bit of a dry opening, but it'll turn around the end. Keep listening.
It'll get wetter.
It gets... A gritty character study of Arthur Fleck, a man discharged by society. That's the whole line. It's just that one
That's
sentence.
it.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, that's insanely descriptive. Thanks, IMDb, for
You're
that
welcome.
summary.
On behalf of IMDb, I work for them now. Sponsored.
All right, when you see the movie, what do you think?
When you see the movie, what did you think? Do you like the movie? None of the shit.
Kane Dogs, when you see the movie, what do you think?
Yeah, cool. I saw the movie...
When you see the movie, you do what? No, go for it.
Today at lunchtime.
When you see... No, go for it.
with Her Majesty's Wardrobe.
Did you like the movie? What is the shit?
And I'm calling this Film of the Year. Calling it now. I loved it. Film of the Year for me, easy. I think it's Oscar worthy. Very, very dark. A lot of dark subject matter, but very, very well handled. So I thought it was really, really great.
Fair. Arthur C. Clarke.
Got old Clarky boy here. I saw the movie last night, and I thought it'd be funny if I never told Jordan what I thought about the film for my entire life. So I don't know how we're going to do this podcast, or if I should give it to that joke. So Jordan, you can step out for a second. So I thought about that, and I was like, that's never going to work. So then I came up with, I will never discuss it in the same room as Jordan for the rest of my life.
And Jordan has just left the building.
And I thought that would be the best troll ever.
Super. Broadman, what did you think?
Oh, I thought it was a bit meh. Angus, what did you think about the movie?
So, I'm very conflicted about this movie. I'm still unsure. This is how I'm feeling at the moment. I didn't like it, but I can definitely appreciate it, if that makes sense.
Fair.
Okay. Like, it's definitely not my cup of tea, but it was made very well.
So I sort of thought that watching it, I'm like, Angus isn't going to like this.
Yeah,
but you can't deny
not,
it's well made.
Not the biggest fan. Sweet. Lads, you know how every week I put up on Instagram what movie we're reviewing, and normally our slicey slices out there, my lovely audience, they chime in on the movie, let us know their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Guess what?
Brody wrote in 3 comments.
We got a few. We got a fair bloody few. So let me go.
For you.
Right from the top. This is from not.filmslash.host. Says, what did the drummer call his twin daughters?
Jordan, do you know this?
No.
Neither do I. Angus?
I mean, you wrote it.
No.
I don't know this, but I am reading it.
Okay.
Is that cheating?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
What did the drummer call his 2 twin daughters?
Not.filmslash.host says, Lila and Rebecca.
Oh, that's fair. They're acceptable names.
That's somehow very irrelevant, but I guess thank you for commenting.
That's fair.
What a load of crap. Oh, okay, great.
Okay, from Hooverman91 replying to that says at not.filmslice.host, what did the man say to his wife?
Jordan, what did the man say to his wife?
Where's my tractor?
Let's find out, Angus. What did the man say to his wife?
Hooverman91 says, nothing, because she was dead and he was sad.
That's a bit depressing.
That is a bit depressing. Replying to that, not.filmslice.host says at Hooverman91, what did the dog say?
Jordan? No.
Brody.
No, I got nothing.
Neither do they, apparently. They haven't said anything. They've just left it at, what did the dog say?
Thanks for running in, I guess.
I guess we can assume woof. Let us know. Write in. Let us know what the dog said.
There you go.
Angus, did anyone real write in?
Yes, we've got from smoke_intros.
Smoke intros.
Says, Hi, flame emoji. I make professional banners and videos, intros and outros, flame emoji. Cartoon portrait, thumbnails with great price, all in capitals. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to DM me. Love heart 2 exclamation marks.
Ooh, that was a pretty hot take from us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
very
really glad
saucy.
why didn't he just private message us that?
Yeah. Well thank you for your input.
Yeah, I guess we'll jump on those DMs.
I'm really glad we do this
Jump on-
segment.
Jump on the
I'm
team.
really glad we still have this segment.
And then we've got from Her Majesty's Wardrobe says, just watched it. Walking out of the cinema, I really liked it. The ending makes you wonder how much of what you saw was real. Really liked it. Mm-hmm. Cheesy smiley face.
She then looked at me and said, I'm writing my review before you talk about it because I don't want you to change my mind on the drive home. Okay. And I agree with her.
Sweet.
So
Did you change your mind?
no, I said exactly that.
Sweet. Awesome. That's all we've got for Instagram. Cane Dogs, anyone hit you up on Facey?
You know what? I can find out, but
Okay.
probably not.
Cool. While we're doing that, I know, Broadman, we had a bit of trouble on Twitter
Yeah,
last
had a
week.
bit.
Is that all ironed out now? We're all
Yeah,
sorted?
it's pretty much ironed out. So,
Oh, beauty.
unfortunately, I've had to make a new account for the Film Slash podcast, obviously.
So it's not ironed out.
Well, it's ironed out that it's stopped happening, but we had to kind of we have to start again. Anyway, unfortunately,
Okay.
it's all right. It's
Right.
So I made a new
Gotcha.
Twitter account, and I was, I've got to admit, I was pretty hungry while I made this Twitter account. So I was ordering food online, and I was like, I was asking everyone, let's get some sweets. I was like, Mars bars, no, like cherry ripes, no, and I was like, we keen for Twix, and and I was like, yeah, cool, yeah. So everyone was like, yeah, we're pretty keen for Twix. So then we got a bunch of Twix sent in. So yeah, so our new Twitter account, unfortunately, because I was naming it at the same time as I was asking everyone, is we keen for Twix.
We keen for Twix. Cool. Okay, so, and did anyone hit us up on We Keen for Twix?
No, not yet. It's a very obscure name that's quite hard to find.
It is.
Yeah,
Sure.
you'd think so.
So,
That's-
Some would say maybe a bad idea to name it that.
yeah,
considering it's
well, I
meant to
don't like those
represent-
people. So
It is a shame that you studied marketing for 12 years and...
I was pretty hungry most of the time.
Some would say a waste of your
studying
life, really.
Marketing. I think there was one class on puns. I remember that one. I don't remember the rest really.
You know what, buddy? Keep it up.
Yeah.
You're doing good. You're
Awesome.
doing good, mate. Keep it in
Also,
there.
if anyone knows a good pun name for Robert De Niro, DM us on We Keen for Twix, and maybe the next film he's in, I'll put that in there because that was a huge chunk of time of me trying to think of something, to be honest, and not getting anything in
Fair
return.
enough. K-Dogs, anyone hit you up on Facey?
No.
Cool.
No, I put
Sweet.
it up about 20 minutes ago. But
All right, well-
since then, nothing.
That's what our Slicey Slices thought of this week for Joker. Would you recommend it? Who would you recommend it to?
Look, I think if you were someone that was looking forward to this movie, absolutely go see it. You probably have an idea about what you want out of this film, and for me, this film delivered in all of those ways. But if you don't know much about this film, it's really dark, and it can hit on some quite sensitive topics if you're not prepared for them. So I guess be careful about seeing this movie. Like, if you're interested in it, go see it. But if you don't know much about it and you're looking for a good time, this isn't the movie for you.
Yep, totally agree.
Bit tough. I'd say if you're a massive DC fan, then that doesn't change anything.
Yeah, no, this movie is far exceeding of everything else I've ever done.
I'd say if you're a big fan of violent movies without a hero, you might like this.
Yep.
It's a good character study. Like, if you just want to delve into a good character study, this is also really, really
Yeah,
fun to delve into.
I think if you like Taxi Driver, the movie, then you'll like Joker, the movie. Not taxi drivers in general. If you
like taxi drivers, you'll probably like this movie.
No, probably not, because I'm assuming some taxi drivers die. I don't know. It's never on screen, but you never know. Sweet, let's head into spoilers.
Oh, what a cool sound effect, Angus.
All right, we're in the spoiler section where we dissect and divulge everything about the film. You've been warned. Look out, I'll shoot you.
Jesus. Yeah, it was a bit... Okay. Cinema Dicks.
Cinema Dicks.
Cinema Dicks
Yeah.
to begin. I have some.
Okay.
Whack 'em off, bro.
Whack them off. Okay, whacking off these cinema dicks real quick. So, my first cinema dick is the cinema itself. It has 3 different kinds of showing types: regular, a little bit more deluxe, and proper deluxe. It was just a bit annoying to going to watch a movie and there being like, I can either watch it now, or I could wait 4 hours for the next original session, or I could just wait 1 hour for the half deluxe or 2 hours for the proper deluxe.
Relax, yeah.
And so it was just one of those things where it's like, I'd like to see it at this time, but that's the super expensive $44 ticket one. I don't want to go if I can see that. But I went to see the original one, which was still double the price of my regular cinema. So the cinema was a bit of a dick cinema, but I got in there and the seats were a bit bigger, which is good because I'm a big boy. And I was like, well, this is nice. And then in the cinema, they had a person with a food cart.
Oh, no way.
So you can get food
That's
on the
actually
outside
kinda
of the
great.
cinema, but then on your way in as well, you know
Yeah.
that bit where you stop and you look up and try to see where your friends are? There is a food cart right there, that entrance bit, and there's a person there, and she's got a bunch of food, and she's got a little credit card reader, and she's standing there, and so you can sit down and go like, I actually feel a bit like having one of these. You can just walk down there and just buy a little thing. And I thought that was fucking top.
Cinema Saint?
Yeah.
so it's the cinema
So
same?
I am now going to be naming this cinema, which is right in the heart of Melbourne, as Saint Dick. So every time I ever go there, I'm going to refer to that cinema as Saint Dick.
Not Saint Nicholas?
Well, that sounds like he's less of a dick. And
Isn't
more,
that what you were saying?
no, but he's half and half.
Right.
He's half dick, half saint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So
Okay, sweet. Saint Nicholas.
yeah, there you go.
Saint Dick, sorry.
my next cinema dick
Okay, here we go.
is a man who sat next to me.
What a prick.
What an arsehole.
He had his phone on full brightness.
Oh.
And thought it'd be fun to not only check it during the film, but check it aiming it at my face. So he was
What's great, for those listening who didn't see how you gestured that, I pictured in
Yeah.
my head just him holding it up in front of your head.
in front of your face. Yeah.
Well,
no, he was like he had like
didn't-
tilted up so he could see it, but then it was just perfectly like lasering into my eyes, and I was like, "This is so fucking dumb." Full brightness though. What kind of a maniac leaves their phone on full brightness in a cinema?
Angus, do you have any cinema dicks?
Yes, I do.
Show me that
Whack 'em
it
off,
was it was in the scene where the Joker's in the TV set and it's live television and he's making jokes that don't land, obviously, because
And he's full Joker,
like,
yeah.
He's full on just like, yeah, I killed those people. Ah, ha, ha, ha. And in those things where obviously like the audience isn't meant to laugh and it's meant to be a very serious kind of like, this guy's flipped the switch. There was someone in the cinema, I don't know where, just went, ah. I was like, motherfucker.
kind of like his laugh.
And I was so anxious after that. I was like, oh, no, fuck that. I'm
That's
out.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was real creepy. Yeah, that's all I got. Diggity.
Yeah, I got charged twice for this movie, and then I had to do a refund.
Sweet. All right. Let's start with our most positive thing about the film. Who would like to go first?
Positive things.
I'll go first.
Diggity.
I got a lot of positives for this film, but I think the biggest one for me is when I found out they were doing the Joker movie and I saw the first trailer, it looked like they were going to glorify him as being more of a vigilante, and it looked like they were going to also like add some sex appeal to the character. Both of those things I hated. Being a big fan of the DC sort of universe, not the films, but the universe, being a big fan of Batman, being a big fan of the Joker, the last thing I wanted is a movie that was going to make people be like, here's the greatest anti-hero and here's a sex symbol and all of that, because I'm like, it's just so far from what a Joker movie should be. I didn't think they'd be able to make a Joker movie without Batman, because I didn't think they'd be able to head towards such a chaotic...
Well, they still haven't.
Oh, well, Batman's not in it. But, like, the point is...
Who is Batman? Jordan, answer the question. Answer the
I
question.
didn't expect them
Jordan doesn't
to...
know who Batman is.
I didn't
That's pretty
expect them to be able to make a movie that was going to delve into the chaos of the Joker without needing to tell the other side of that story so that there's, like, a hero to it.
Yeah.
So I guess my biggest positive for this film is that they nailed it for me. They told a story about the Joker where you understand why he's insane, but you don't empathize with it. He's not made out to be a hero. He's not made out to be like a hero of the people who's just standing up against like corrupt businessmen. He's straight up a psycho. And although you understand it, you don't empathize with it, which is my positive.
I disagree. I think I definitely empathize.
I empathized with it, but not to a degree where I agreed with it.
Like, I empathized with him as a character, especially early on in the film, which
absolutely.
is one thing that I think that this film did really well is it's not like you're not watching a villain as the main character. You're watching a very kind of troubled man, and you do feel for him. Like, there's things that happen in his life where people just don't understand what he's going through, or
Yeah.
that kind of shit.
I guess
which,
I'll rephrase. You empathize with him, but you don't agree with the decisions that sort of follow on from it. So, like, I empathize with his character, but I'm not like, yeah, I'm so glad he killed all those people.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is they didn't glorify the violence, which is good. They didn't make it seem like every time he killed someone, like, even though part of you is rooting for him because of his psychological disorders, you're not like, that guy deserved to die, I'm really glad he did it. Like, he's not a vigilante. You don't feel watching this the same way you feel watching, say, like, The Punisher or something like that. Like, he doesn't come across as a hero in this in any way.
Yeah.
That's my biggest positive. Brody.
Arthur.
I think that every kind of part of this film was done correctly. I think it was directed.
You must have
well.
liked it then.
I think it was. I think it was directed well. I think it was acted really well. I think it was like the production design, the art design, the cinematography, and the music. I think it was all done really well. And I just think it just left me feeling weird because I just have like weirdly mixed feelings about it. I think the movie made me feel really, really depressed, like after watching it. And I just like kind of like felt like shit going home. And then I was kind of just like, it's like, I don't know why they had to call it Joker, because it kind of had nothing to do except for that Thomas and Bruce Wayne were in it.
Yeah.
And they felt very kind of thrown in. It felt like they wrote a great film and then put Thomas and Bruce Wayne in it. And I was like, okay, it made me like the film a bit less, all of the scenes that had him in it. And I feel like I don't really get why this was a DC film. And because it doesn't, there's like not a single part of it that makes me think of DC. I still consider DC to not have made a good film yet.
Yeah, well, this is considered not to be a part of the DC EU, and also DC Studios, which have had a hand in all of those, didn't have much of a hand in this.
Yeah,
so that's why
it's weird, right? And so like
it's also weird that Todd Phillips made a good movie like this.
Well, what else has Todd Phillips done?
His most critically acclaimed film is like The Hangover Part 3.
Okay, fair enough. And so, yeah, it was just a bit weird, and it was kind of just strange watching this guy do all of this stuff, and I didn't really see, there wasn't like a point to it at the minute. And it kind of felt like he ended up in the same place that he started, because he talks about how he was in an institution, and he felt better when he was in there. I think like at the end, he's just happy with murdering people now, and I was just like, And I don't really know what I was expecting, but it was just like, I don't know, it was just weird for me.
So your biggest positive is
Oh,
I hate this.
Still messing with you. My biggest positive, like, I think there's a lot of positives to the film, Broadman, as you said, like, really well shot. There were shots there that they let breathe, which again kind of created this anxiety. And the more I think about it, the more I like the fact that it could give me such anxiety. Like, I was going through this whole film, like, heart
feeling anxious
in my throat, just like not knowing. Because I think, which brings me to like my biggest positive, is that they made the Joker such a three-dimensional character. And you think in all of the other films that Joker's been in, he's the villain. Like, even if he's like a villain with a good backstory, or like even in like the Dark Knight Rises, like he's an anarchist, that's his thing, you don't really know where he's coming from. This kind of builds up on his character to make it three-dimensional in a way that you can actually have him without Batman in it.
Yep.
And the thing that I hated but also really appreciated was how based in realism this is. Like, this could happen in our world. Yeah. Apart from like the made up city and Batman and like references to Batman or whatever, this could
the concept
happen,
of a guy losing it and just going insane like that,
which is like very kind of, I guess, political of the times, because people are doing that. Like, people are going crazy and killing people and all that kind of stuff. So it really, I think that like they really played on that. So like, well done to them. But also that is what made me really anxious, really nervous about this film and like what they're trying to do, what they're trying to say.
Yeah. I feel like this doesn't feel like the Joker to me. So I feel like in trying to make a three-dimensional character, they made a character, but it wasn't the Joker.
If that makes sense. Very Joker to me.
Really?
From some of the darker comics, there's a comic called The Killing Joke. This is heavily derived from that, and they nailed it.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Again, like, just so confused about where I stand on this film, but like I feel like it's a good film. I feel like it's a good film.
Okay.
But having said that, let's go into the negatives. Things that we didn't like about the film. Most negative.
I honestly really struggled with finding a negative for this film. Come back to me.
Cool.
I've had the day to think about it.
I got it.
Roadman, what was your...
So there's a series of moments throughout this film where he has a relationship with a woman that's living in the same building as him, and it turns out further on that he's kind of picturing her there. She wasn't really there. I think the reveal of her not really being there was done incorrectly. I think it was done very obviously. It was just like, it kept showing you these moments. It showed her there, and then it cut to a moment where she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it did, like, I think 4 of those.
Yeah,
where it was
yeah.
like, she's there, she's not there, she's there, she's not there, she's there, she's not there, she's there, she's not there. To really drill into your mind that this is exactly what was
all been
happening.
made up, yeah.
I think it would have been better if we had just seen all of the shots where she wasn't there. If we had seen the shot where he was looking at the door, if we'd seen the shot where he, like, he was, like, on the street, like looking at the newspaper,
Looking at the tabloids, yeah.
yeah, because then if you had remembered those shots from earlier, you would you get the idea that she wasn't there.
Yeah, I like that,
without
yeah.
having to see she's there, she's not there.
Without them treating the audience like a bit of an idiot.
Yeah, because it was because they did used some of those more like mysterious techniques earlier when they showed like the letters. They didn't just show the full letter and hold on to it or have someone read it out or anything like that. They showed like glimpses of words of like your son is like my living conditions and like what's going to happen is like I miss you, I love you. Is like when there's like he's reading a letter from his mother to Thomas Wayne and stuff like that.
Every time you look at those, if you looked at a different part, you'd probably get a different piece of information to that story, because the 3 things that you just said aren't the 3 things that I read on any of those pages. And I read things that obviously would have given the same kind of background, but what I read is slightly different. So
they did a really good job of having the most focus on like certain words, because it was really like depth of field. But like I thought like that was kind of mysteriously done. It wasn't just like this is the information that you should have. Boom. It was, and so it felt weird that they went back to like that kind of way for that. So I didn't really like that. And then just like having the Thomas Wayne and the Bruce Wayne in there were kind of just thrown in there for me. And then I was like, oh, and because of the Joker, that's why Batman's parents died. And I was just like, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying before in my positives that like I really like that it was so based in realism and it could happen, and just mentioning like the Wayne family and Batman, it kind of took away from that, and it's just like no, don't just remember this is a make-believe town and nothing happens here really affects the world, and it really kind of took away from that. But yeah, totally agree, that was one of my biggest negatives. The other negative that I have, which is something you mentioned as well, Breadman, was the writing. I think there was just a bit too much writing. I have a feeling they cut to writing maybe like 5 or 6 times, and it felt like there was like, at the start it was like, okay, there's a clue, we're piecing together this story, but it felt like the only clues you really got were in writing.
Yeah.
And I kind of, by the end of it, I did kind of get sick. I'm like, man, I've got to read this shit again. Like, I've got to read something else. Or like,
You're sort of too tense to focus on it as well. Like you're a bit...
Yeah. And it's, I don't think this is the kind of this is the kind of movie that...
Kind of murder.
Murder. I don't think this is the kind of movie that is like it's not like a murder mystery of like a, it's not like a crime kind of thing that... What am I trying to say? Like a detective piece. Like you're not trying to piece together a story. You're getting told the story. So I think just having those like little clues in the words and everything, just a bit too much. Like I liked it at the start, but there was just too much of it, and I got.
There was one bit I thought they did really well when he has the book from the psychiatric ward about his mother, and he opens it to the adoption page, and it's like a side-on view, so the writing's going from the bottom of the screen up.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things that you don't see that often in movies. And I really like that they put it in there, because that's a different way to reveal that page without it just having blank on the screen.
You to focus on the bolder writing as well.
Yeah, and they did it really well. It's because like people can read that way. They do it all the time, but you don't really see it in movies.
Yeah.
And so it was a kind of smart thing to like trust the audience in that moment.
Only negative I have, and it's not so much a negative, it's more... Another way that I would have liked to have seen this film done is one of the biggest things surrounding the Joker is the fact that we don't know his backstory. It's revealed in a few comics, but almost every time they reveal it in a comic, they immediately like change it so that you can't rely on that to be factual. And I think one of the things I had in my head about this movie is we see in the trailers, we see that he does a gig as stand-up comedian, we see he does a gig as like a sign spinner, and we see him in like a psych ward. And I sort of thought it'd be really cool going into this movie if instead of telling a linear story, they told us 3 different ways that he became the Joker, and you'd be left to sort of discern which one's real. Like maybe in one of the backstories, it's a story, because in Batman the Dark Knight, we have the Joker tell, like, you know how he got these scars, and he tells a different story every time, and it forces you to not rely on any of them. And I think it would have been really cool if this movie did something along those lines where even after, like, being told how he arrived there, you still have no idea. And they did that to an extent by not letting us trust him as a narrator, but I feel like they could have leaned a little more into it so that people can walk away still not having a definitive idea of where he came from.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, cool.
And then other than that, the only other negative is I kind of was hoping that something more would happen. If that makes sense. Like, it goes through a bunch of stuff of, like, setting him up as a character and him, like, going down this spiral and kind of giving in to his, like, basic urges and all this horrible stuff. And he shoots a guy on TV and he kills another person and then he stands on a car. And then it kind of ends. And it's just like...
So...
Yeah, it's that kind of things like... Because there isn't that Batman, that superhero or anything in there, there is that...
There's not a climactic ending.
Yeah, there isn't... There. I just wanted to, like, something big...
Like retribution almost?
I wanted... Because it was building for so long, and there was meant to be this huge release, and there wasn't really this release. 'Cause, like, and I think of it like in Hotel Mumbai, where there was, like, so much stuff happening.
Much construction. Like destruction.
And then there was just
a lot of construction. They just built a lot of things.
Yeah, and they kept going to these different places, and it's like, oh, this is, like, this nice, peaceful place, and then, like, the most horrible thing happens, and it's, like, really confronting, and you're like, oh, jeez. And it's like, I was keep thinking of, like, we're gonna get one of those moments where he goes somewhere. He goes to some place where there's a bunch of rich people, and he kills everyone, and he, like, makes fun of them while he does it. And then it doesn't happen. And I was like, oh.
Just while we're there, I don't know if it's The Killing Joke or The Dark Knight Returns. It's one of those 2 comics. This is taken half from that, and they didn't commit to it, which I guess it's the negative that I came out of the cinema with, and I just didn't remember it until you brought it up now. But in that, he does go on a talk show, but not only does he kill the host, he then gasses everyone in the audience and kills everyone.
Yeah.
And I was expecting this to go in that direction, that not only was he going to kill them, but all the people that have been watching and laughing along with... making fun of him and all the people that have been ignoring the stuff outside, the corruption and all of that. I think it would have been really dark, but really cool, and it would have given us a much larger sort of climax if he had gassed or killed everyone there somehow.
But contrary to that, I think one of the better things that this film did was the gunplay and how kind of finite the shots are and everything. Like, only 4 people die? 4 people? 5 people, including the mum.
We have the 3 in the subway, then we've got the mum.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, maybe a few people die.
And then you've got the cops, and then you've got the guy that works...
I don't know if they die.
Yeah,
they get beaten
heavily.
Yeah, I don't think they die.
Another guy dies off screen, dressed as a clown, and then you've got one of the guys that worked with him.
Yeah.
And then you've got...
Yeah.
Robert De Niro. Real life Robert De Niro.
I think, like, one of the good things that this movie did was, like, the gunplay and how impactful that was. So, like, I didn't mind that it was just that kind of one gunshot at the end, or like a couple of gunshots.
The one murder.
It really made it, like, that last scene so tense as well, because, like, it kind of alludes to the idea that he's going to shoot himself on TV.
Yeah.
But then, like,
I didn't think for a second.
I
knew they were going to. If this succeeds, they'll keep the Joker and put him in 1,000 films.
Yeah. But
the entire time, I was like, oh, he's going to shoot the host.
Yeah.
As soon as they talked about him coming on, and I'd seen, like, stuff in the trailers, I was like, he's going to shoot.
Yeah.
I guess on one hand of this side, it's a better movie for what they did, but a worse Joker story. I think on one hand, it's cool that he only killed the host, because the violence being used sparingly in this movie made it more impactful. But I wanted to walk out of this movie seeing the transformation from Arthur Fleck to being full Joker. And I don't think that him shooting one other person makes him full Joker. I think him, like, laughing hysterically whilst gassing a room full of people without any, like, control of himself, that's the sort of Joker that, like, in my brain, like, the Batman and the comics and stuff would struggle to fight. Not just a dude with a gun. little interesting tidbit, completely irrelevant from positive or negative. Did you know that they called the Joker Arthur Fleck? Because he doesn't traditionally have a name in any of the comics outside of the Joker. It's one of the main things. They called him Arthur Fleck because at the time, Ben Affleck was deciding whether or not he wanted to be a part of the DCEU. And so they poked fun at that by making him A. Fleck. Arthur Fleck. A. Fleck.
Very good.
So what a dick, Todd Phillips, just to have a dig at Ben Affleck for no reason.
What an arsehole.
Yeah, bit of a dick move.
The director that probably didn't come up with the name.
Yeah, well, whoever was like, you know what, fuck Ben Affleck for not wanting to
Todd
be asked
Phillips.
about Batman.
I reckon we lay it all on Todd Phillips.
Fuck that guy.
I like that guy. I mean,
You know what?
he made a good movie, and I
And-
can't wait to see what else he does.
What a great note to end this podcast on. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy who made that good movie we all agree is good.
Sweet. All right, let's leave it there, lads. Next week, we are going to be reviewing...
Dead Don't Die. It's Bill Murray and Adam Driver's zombie film. It's not playing anywhere here, but it's playing in Melbourne, so we'll go see that.
Super. All right.
It's better than Gemini. Is that or Gemini Man? And Gemini Man is like Will Smith, but he's been attacked by Will Smith.
Will Smith attacks Will Smith.
Great. Take that, Jaden Smith, his son who didn't get the role.
Will Smith punches himself. All right, sweet. The Dead Don't Die. See us next week before we get attacked by zombies. Bye!
Oh, sorry, I just had someone.
Thank you for listening to the Film Size Podcast. If you enjoyed that, we have plenty of others on all of the places that you get your podcasts.
Specifically 93.
Specifically 93 of them. Next week it'll be 94 when we do another movie. See you then. Bye.
I fucked that up. This is episode 93. We've only got 92 of those. Sorry about that. Bye.
Bye.